Welcome to All Gems, No Crumbs. I'm Ikenisha, the AI business queen, and I help entrepreneurs turn strategy into systems, systems into sales, and effort into revenue. Inside this podcast, I'm breaking down the frameworks, automations, and decision-making strategies I actually use to grow my business, sell consistently, and build leverage without hustling or overcomplicating anything. If you're ready to build with intention and execute at a higher level, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. Let me tell you something that most people don't realize. So, a consultant doesn't have magic information. I do consider myself a consultant, okay? So I'm going to be speaking from that lens this episode. They have better questions and a cleaner way of seeing your business, and that's it. And the reason consultants can walk into a business or see a business online and immediately spot what's wrong is because they are not emotionally attached to your ideas, your effort, or really your excuses. So today, I'm going to show you how I use ChatGPT to audit my own business the same way a consultant would do for another business or how I would do for another business. So I don't need like outside opinions, guesswork, or endless trial and error. So last episode, if you listened to the last one from last week, we talked about the questions that show why your business is not growing. And so today we're going to talk about more so like the fixes and the auditing part of it. Okay. So this is not about fixing everything at once. This is more so about seeing it all clearly because clarity precedes correction. And if you are familiar with me at all, you will know that I use the word clarity a lot because that is something that has come to my own attention with both businesses that I've had for years. Granted, I don't have the first one anymore after closing it for 7 years, but y'all get what I'm saying. So most business owners, I'm going to say this too. Excuse me, got something in my throat. If you listen to my episode where I talk about my journey with shadow work, you will know that something that I said that I am diligently for years trying to work on is me talking fast. So this episode, I'm trying to speak slowly or more slowly because when I get passionate about something, heated about something, I talk really fast. And I told you all in that shadow work episode where that came from. And so I'm trying my hardest to get out of that. So I'm going to be talking kind of slow this episode because I'm trying to be mindful of how fast I'm speaking. So if you want to play this at like double speed or something or whatever, go ahead. But I'm trying to be mindful. Okay. All right. So I just want to throw that out there. All right. So let's get into it. So most business owners are too close to their business. And I've said before that during 2020, one of the main things that was making me a lot of money was me doing website audits and social media audits, specifically Instagram. And so it's easier for me to come in and audit a business, not only because of my experience, but because, again, I'm not emotionally attached. But I am also one of those type of people who is able to detach emotionally, whether it's in a relationship, friendships, in general, as well as my business. I am able to take a step back and look at things through another lens. And a lot of people cannot do that, which is fine. But a lot of people confuse effort with effectiveness. And they confuse the fact that they have visibility. They confuse that with growth. And they also confuse activity with progress. Not everything you're doing, like not all busy work is productive. And people seem to equate that. And they'll say things like, I'm doing everything. I'm doing all the things. I'm posting consistently. I'm working hard. Okay, great. But none of that tells me if your business is healthy. Consultants don't ask how hard you're working. They ask if you're doing what makes sense. And that's something that I know a lot of people told me that they liked about me when I used to do so many audits was that I didn't sugarcoat anything and I made sure that I asked you questions and held you accountable. So I want you to hear this if you're someone who's never had an audit or you're scared of one. An audit is not about judgment. It's not self-criticism, self-doubt, self-sabotage, any of that. An audit is really self-respect. It says, I care enough about my business to look at it honestly. And ChatGPT is powerful here because it has no emotional attachment to your brand story whatsoever. It only responds to what you tell it. So I'm not trying to put myself and other consultants out of a job, but at the same time, we do have AI now, and you might as well use it to the best of your ability and the best of its ability. So let's talk briefly, very briefly, about like the mindset of a consultant. So when a consultant is auditing a business, or me, they normally look at about 5 things. They look at what you're offering, your product, all of that. We look at the messaging around it, the sales process, how you're selling it, how you're presenting the offer, the execution system, and the decision-making habits of the owner or of you, the business owner. We're not really looking at aesthetics or vibes or likes, none of that. We're looking at the things that are truly able to move the needle in your business and your income. So that's exactly how we're going to use ChatGPT, okay? That's what we're going to do. We're going to look at those 5 things. So I'm going to give you a prompt. Obviously, if you're driving, you're going to have to look at the timestamp and see when I say this, so you can go back and do this later. So you're going to open ChatGPT and you're going to say, I'm going to try to say this slow, okay? I want you to say, act like a business consultant auditing my company. I want you to evaluate my offer, messaging, sales process, and execution. Ask me as many questions that's necessary, one category at a time. After each section, summarize what's working and what's broken. Now, I'm going to let you know. Being that I did not give ChatGPT a specific number of questions, like I didn't tell it ask me 3 to 5 questions. I said ask me as many questions as necessary. That means ChatGPT is going to ask you probably a shit ton of questions. It's probably going to ask you about 10 questions per category. Like, it's going to ask you a lot. It's going to get into some meat and potatoes, get really deep in there. Okay, so with that being said, this is not a fast exercise at all. So don't think you're going to do this and you're going to spend about maybe 5 to 10 minutes on it, maybe 20. No, ma'am. No, sir. Okay, it's going to take long. You need to look at this as a clarity exercise to get all the clarity you need about your business. Now, I'm going to say too, if your ChatGPT is not used a lot around your business, it's not going to know about, like, it's not going to be able to evaluate properly. So it's probably going to ask you a whole lot of other questions to get background on your company or your business rather. So you can also attach a link to your website, like your homepage. And then you can also put links to like other important pages on your website. That way it can at least see that as well. And if you are in my AI marketing lab or you've taken my AI for business bootcamp, you will know that there's another way, an even deeper way to get your ChatGPT to audit your website. But we're not going into that here on the podcast because it's a lot. But yeah, excuse me. So I want you to do that with that prompt, okay? Now, this is how you're going to answer. Like most people, from experience, most people will sabotage an audit by over-explaining, justifying their bad decisions, and then defending things that are obviously not working. Do not do that. You're doing this in the privacy of your own home, most likely, or office. No one is seeing your answers, so you need to answer plainly and honestly. You need to answer like you're explaining your business to someone who does not give a F about your feelings whatsoever. They only care about your results. And that's how you have to look at ChatGPT. It don't have no feelings. Okay? It may say stuff like it does, and we may train it to talk all sister girl, whatever. It does not care. Okay? I assure you it does not. So please handle this with honesty. Most consultants do not coddle, they don't sugarcoat, anything like that. Our job as a consultant in doing an audit is to correct. That's it. So that's what you're going to do with your ChatGPT. So what ChatGPT will usually find, like, okay, so when I've done audits using ChatGPT, it usually reveals like one of these things. Like I've done this exercise with like two different clients just to, like two different clients, like, of course it was two different clients. Two clients with two totally different businesses is what I was going to say. Plus mine. So what I've seen is that ChatGPT will usually reveal, one, the offer doesn't solve an urgent problem. Like people may like you, but they don't need to buy like right now. That's not a sales issue. That's more of a content issue. Okay. And then also I've noticed, how do I want to word this? The messaging doesn't match the buyer's awareness. Like you're teaching when they're confused or selling when they're still skeptical. You get what I'm saying? So that disconnect will kill the conversion and you won't get the sales that you're looking for. Also, the sales process has friction. So there's too many steps. There's too many choices. If you're selling digital products or a book, you have them to click, like they're on your Instagram page and they have to click the link in your bio. And then they got to scroll down through your little link tree or whatever your little thing that you have. And then they get to your website. And then they got to find it. And then they click it. And then they got to put in all the other. It's too much. People don't like a lot of choices. If they do, they're just going to opt out. I'm one of those people. If I can't click, maybe 3 clicks, and then get to my cart and buy, I'm not going to do it. Another issue I saw a lot, especially when I was doing a lot of audits for boutique owners. A lot of people have too many choices. I will also say, I had to, when I audited my business and reframed and did my 5-year focus formula, if you're not familiar, please be sure to check that out on my site. Yes, I am doing a shameless plug because I did my 5-year focus formula. This is something that I created myself, and it changed like everything. Like I call it my glow up. Okay. And I use ChatGPT to do that. So if you're not familiar with it, please go to my website. The link will be in the description or whatever, however way you're listening to this. But anywho, when I did that, I realized myself that I had too many choices on my current website now. Well, the website didn't look the way it looks now. I totally redid my whole website. I revamped everything after I did my 5-year focus formula and really took a step back on everything in life and my business. I really simplified what I offer now. And I realized that I had way too many choices. And when you give someone way too many choices, they either don't know what to do, so they do nothing, or they become overwhelmed with so many choices that they do nothing, even though they know that they need something. So like with me, for example, with all of my different classes training, like if you're familiar, I used to have on my site, let's see, I used to have Canva trainings. I had a bunch of different classes around analytics and branding and marketing and Jesus, a whole ChatGPT suite and prompts and prompt packs and stock photos and I mean a lot of stuff. Okay, a lot of choices, and it really wasn't cohesive. And once I really got down to exactly what I like to do and what I do well, even though granted I do feel like I can do everything well, but I really had to be honest. And my mentor, she always says, just because you can doesn't mean you should. So just because I can teach Canva and teach it well and teach you how to use it in a way that is so easy for you to understand, it doesn't mean that I should have it on my site. So I do still teach Canva. I actually have a Canva class coming in, a live one, like in person. I want to say April. Yeah, it's April because the March was about social media. So, yeah, April. but it's not on my site. You can find it in my AI marketing lab because it's a whole ecosystem. But when it comes to my actual offers, that's not there. Everything is simplified. I'm strictly talking about AI, ChatGPT, prompting, frameworks, everything. It is all cohesive and it all flows together, and you're not facing decision fatigue when you go to my site anymore. So yeah, you cannot have too many choices. All right. One other thing was that there is no clear next action. But I noticed that a lot on social media audits more so than website audits. So a lot of times people would not have a clear next step. And so you need to have that as well. Understand that from what I've learned as well is that simple normally sells better. We tend to throw everything on a website because we're scared that if we leave something out, we're leaving money on the table. And a lot of times that really kills the conversions as well. Now, another thing is that execution is inconsistent. That's something else that ChatGPT will pick up, or things that I've realized as well. Not for myself, but like when I'm auditing. And normally execution is not inconsistent, not because you're lazy, but because your systems are vague. And vague systems will create burnout, and then you eventually just start doing nothing. And then the last one is the owner avoids decisions, and that's a big one. And I've been there. Because indecision costs more than mistakes. And a lot of times we're just scared to make a mistake, or we're scared to just put ourselves out there. So after the audit, this is the second prompt I want you to do. So this is where strategy becomes action. So after the audit, I want you to ask ChatGPT this. Based on this audit, what is the single highest, remember that now, single, okay? So we're simplifying here. What is the single highest impact change I should make in the next 7 days to increase revenue or clarity? Okay, not 5 changes, no rebranding, no rebuilding, none of that. We're doing one high impact change. That's all I want you to do. And that is how consultants keep businesses from collapsing under too much information. When I used to give feedback from my audits, I will always give them the 3 main things that I noticed. I would give them little feedback, not little feedback, little points, like things that I knew I really needed to mention. And then I would give them one big change that I would really, recommend, and 1 or 2 things maybe, but it was always one big one that I knew would have the biggest impact to get the ball rolling for them to continue growing, if you get what I'm saying. So again, only ask it for one single high impact change. And you need to do it within the next 7 days. So that way you get out of that inconsistent execution. So really, this is how I move fast, basically. Like, I don't panic anymore. I don't scrap everything. I feel really confident now that I've made all these different changes. I don't spiral out of control. I just audit, I adjust, and I execute. And when I have questions, I will go to my assistant, ChatGPT, my strategist, and I will just have conversations with it saying, hey, I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about doing this. Should I add this? Should I change up this part of my class? What should I, blah, blah, blah. And it will tell me, honestly, because it has no feelings. And it will say it. I'm going to tell you this straight up. Like, sorry. It will say that. So it really helps me see my business without ego. And that is really a superpower, like I was saying earlier. Like, I'm able to detach, but also having something at my disposal very quickly that I can use anytime has really heightened that. So once you know how to audit your business, you will then stop chasing shiny strategies, because I'm telling y'all, I do that because when I would see something is working for someone else, or when I would do boutique audits, people would say, oh, I want to buy from this vendor and this vendor because so-and-so boutique is doing it's working for them. No, stop chasing shiny strategies. You have to be consistent with what you're already doing. You also need to stop rebuilding what isn't broken. If something is already working, don't go back to it and try to like add more to it. I've done that. It doesn't work. You also need to stop asking everybody for opinions, okay? I wanted to throw that in there because it wasn't even in my notes, but you need to stop asking everybody for opinions. I have been there too, and I have learned that not everyone is meant to know what you're doing. Not everyone is meant to offer an opinion. People already offer unsolicited opinions, and a lot of people tend to think that their opinions are fact. Please, I'm telling y'all, do not ask everybody for an opinion. You should have one business bestie and maybe a mentor if you're able to have one. That's all I recommend. I've said it so many times throughout the years that I was blessed to have my actual best friend be my business bestie because she was in business herself and very successful. So I really would take her opinions to heart and I would listen because I knew she had that same outlook that I did. So if you're not able to have a business bestie like IRL in real life or someone that you can actually see in person or whatever, go into Facebook groups and find one. Go on Threads. Threads right now, people are loving the fact that they're finding community on Threads. So I recommend Facebook groups or Threads. I really recommend Threads over Facebook right now because it's just a lot going on in these Facebook groups, I swear. So yeah, really you have to learn that you start leading your business when you stop reacting to it. Okay. And leadership is what scales, not just the sales. You have to have that leadership. And people will always say, well, who am I leading? I don't have any employees. I don't have a team. How is this about leadership? You're still leading yourself. And I used to say to people all the time, and this was a quote I used to put up all the time, that I realized about myself back when I had my boutique. When I readjusted back in 2018, I said to myself, Nisha, and if you're familiar with the story, you already know, I was literally standing in my bathroom looking in the mirror. And I said to myself, Nisha, if you worked for you as the manager of Victoria's Secret, if you were your own employee, would you keep you? If you work the way that you work in your business right now. And I had to be honest with myself. Because I kept telling myself that I was not growing back then because I was doing all the things and I was posting all the time when I really was not. I was inconsistent with things. I was not showing up in the spaces that I needed to show up. I wasn't doing the things like following through with what I said I was going to do. I had to be honest with myself. And when I told myself no, I would fire my ass, that's when a fire lit under me and everything went great after that. Not all the way, but I still had some bumps in the road. But point is, I was able to be honest with myself. Okay. I was able to lead myself. In order to be a great person, how do I want to word this? In order to be a great self-employed boss, you have to be an employee for yourself first. You don't just jump into CEO just because you work for yourself. You're still the employee of your business. So you have to act like an employee would act for where you used to work or where you still work. Because if you are honest with yourself, if you work the way that you work for your business at your current job now, would your boss write you up? Would your boss give you a warning? Would your boss fire you? Think about it. And if your answer is, yeah, they would, you need to do better. So here's your assignment for this week. Okay. I'm giving you homework. Open ChatGPT. We already said this earlier. I'm going to repeat that same prompt. You're going to tell it to act like a business consultant. Audit my business, starting with my offer, then my messaging, my sales process, my execution. After the audit, tell me one thing I need to fix first. I said it a little bit differently earlier. Go back and do whichever one. I kind of recommend the first one I said. All right. So that is the uncomfortable part. Okay. That's going to be the uncomfortable part. You're going to have to sit in it. I'm telling you, it's going to be uncomfortable because when I've done certain things with ChatGPT that I've gotten it to do, but it wasn't with business, it was with like life. And I had to sit through some uncomfortable things myself. And I was just sitting here by myself. So I want you to go ahead and do that And then when it tells you what to fix, I want you to fix the thing. Not tomorrow, not next month. Do it this week now, okay? Don't put it off. You don't need more ideas. You don't need to start over. Nothing like that. You need to see clearly. And so this is how I use ChatGPT. This is how consultants think. And this is how businesses will stop stalling and start moving. Okay? So if this execution, what in the world? If this episode helped you at all, please drop down in my comments. Let me know, because I really decided that this second season I was really going to concentrate more on AI and business and all of that, because the first season was more so you all getting to know me and everything. So I want to make sure that I am bringing you all the content that you really need. Some people may not like some things that I say. I don't care. As long as I'm helping you and I am correcting you and you are seeing results, that's all I care about, okay? And don't forget that if you really want to use ChatGPT in a way that helps you glow up your business and your life, I highly recommend you get my 5-year focus formula. I'm telling you, the way that I teach you to train your ChatGPT and how I get it to help you change your life in general, it's mind blowing. You're going to be looking at your computer like, what the hell? I'm telling you. So make sure you drop down in the description. Check it out. If you take it or if you get it, please let me know, whether it's on Instagram, email me, comment, whatever it is, okay? All right. So I will see you all next week. And remember, God, I can't remember my own tagline. What do I say? What do I say? Oh, catch me. I don't even want to say it now because what was it? I know it. Catch me. Catch me next week with another gem of advice, because you know I'm not going to leave no crumbs.